Marcus Alexander on Marketing for My Money. Marcus.
Man, we can do better than that on applause. Can you do it again, Joe? Well, thank you for that amazing applause.
Feel better now.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
We can do better than that. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
It is such a pleasure to be here and to see each and every one of you. Thank you for getting up so early on I was about to say a Monday. What's a Monday? What is this? Thursday. Monday, Thursday. Yeah, I mix up my days all the time. So it is so wonderful to be here. Thank you so much for being here. How many of you are interested in more marketing for your monies? Some of you? Okay. And I'm guessing that many of you are here because your marketing efforts aren't getting the results that you want, or your marketing efforts are getting you decent results and you want better results.
Yeah.
Or your marketing results or your marketing efforts are giving you great results and you want even greater results. Does that about cover everyone?
Yeah.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Well, you are in the right place because we are going to have a lot of fun this morning. We're going to be very, very interactive. So the beginning intro was more than just glitz and glam. That's actually how we're going to be the whole entire time. I'm a firm believer that the state that you're in is linked to the information that is linked the information you learn is linked to the state that you're in when you learn it. So a lot of times you might remember when we were in grade school, the teacher they tried to tell us, sit down, be quiet, and listen, right? But the problem with that is the information that we learn is now in this state, sitting down, being quiet, and listening. However, if you're in a more active state, that means the information that you retain in that active state becomes a lot more active. Does that make sense? Yes. We're going to get a lot more detail in this and some other marketing aspects right now. So, welcome to More Marketing for My Money. And I'm your host, Marcus Alexander. So for the 1.5 of you who don't know me, it might help if I actually turn it on. It might work. So for the 1.5 of you who don't know me, we're going to give a little bit of intro about me, and this is today's kind of meeting flow. I don't like the word agenda because it's too formal. I'm a millennial, so we like to rebel. So we're going to do a little intro in today's session flow. We're going to talk a little bit about mindset and mindset shift and how can we shift your mind. A lot of the reasons you're not getting the marketing results that you want is because a lot of us often maintain old school kind of way of marketing. And the old school kind of way of marketing, it works if you have the numbers to play the numbers game. And most of us small business owners don't have the numbers to play the numbers game. We have some clients that spent $1 million in promotion and advertising an hour. An hour. You may not be able to compete with that on a money basis, but you can compete with it on other bases. And we're going to talk about that. How do you get to the core of what you're trying to deliver to your target market? So that's going to be a large part of our session. We're going to talk a little bit about the brain. How many of you have been in one of my sessions before? A few of you. Awesome, awesome, awesome. So if you know the answers, don't say them. But we're going to talk a little bit about the brain. So give everyone the same privilege that you had when you had my sessions first. But we're going to talk a little bit about the brain. We're going to tell you why we're going to talk about the brain and how that relates to marketing in a second. And we're going to get into why people buy. Would it be helpful to know why people actually buy? It's not, hey, here's my thing, buy, 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 buy. Because usually they tell you, buy, 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 correct? So we're going to talk about why people buy, how they buy, and then we're going to get into a little bit more marketing for my money. What are some of the top trends 2020 that you want to be doing with your marketing efforts that will help you stand out amongst the crowd? And of course, all this information is great, but it doesn't mean a hill of beans. Yes, we say hill of beans where I'm from, I'm country. It does not mean a hill of beans if we do not put it into action. So everything we talk about today, we want you to put into action. We want you to actually implement. Sound fun?
Yes.
Yeah. Awesome. I love your energy. Let's keep it up. Who's in the room? I want to know in just a word or two, what's your industry, your name, and what the industry is that you're in so that we can better tailor this presentation to you and to your needs. So, if I do not get volunteers, I will volunteer you. How about you, sir? Who is so attentive and looking at me. I love it. Yes, ma'am.
Rosalind Porter and Business Communications Coaching.
Business communications coaching, awesome. Yes, sir.
Dan Lewis, locksmith. If you have a business or a house, I'm your man.
Business or house? He's your man. Yes, ma'am.
Sean Davis, I'm health and wellness coach specializing in healing and diet.
Health and wellness coach, healing and diet. Yes, ma'am.
Mary Ann Shane, I'm also a holistic wellness health coach.
Holistic wellness health coach. I love it. I love it. We have a real soft spot for coaches, wellness coaches, mental health coaches, because that is, it seems to be a lot of the clients we naturally attract. We'll get into why that is the case a little later. Yes, sir.
Adrian Washington, I'm a lawyer.
Lawyer, awesome, awesome, awesome. Everyone in here will be getting your card, I'm sure. Yes, ma'am.
Deputy White, solar energy.
Solar energy, awesome, awesome, awesome. Yes, ma'am.
Betsavi Romero, window coverage, plantation shutters, shades, and blinds.
Window coverings, awesome. I love it, I love it, I love it. And yes, ma'am. Yes, you who are looking in the back, like I'm not going to you.
Amanda Benson, writing and publishing, specializing in life story.
Writing and publishing, talking about life story. Love it, love it, love it. Any others? Any other? Does that about cover the industry? Lawn business. Love it, love it, love it. Yes, sir.
Good morning, I am in the electrical and air conditioning business.
Electrical and air conditioning business. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Any other fields that we're not representing? Yes,
I do
ma'am.
drone photography, videography, and mapping, and I'm also probably looking to sell some CBD products.
Drone photography, I love it, and CBD products, love it, love it, love it. Well, I guess I should disclaimer when I say love it, love it, love it. I love it, love it, love it. Yes, ma'am, and then yes, sir, and we'll move on.
So my name is Caitlin, I'm currently in food and beverage. For catering, I do baked goods, anything from cookies, cakes to brownies. And I'm actually launching my YouTube channel where I do meal prep, and I also sell meal preps as well. So,
Awesome. Food and beverage, meal prep, yes, ma'am, yes, sir, and then yes, sir.
I work with, animal health, I work with doctors, hospitals, and then also,
Also into what?
marijuana.
We, oh, you said weed. Let's use the proverbs of the same. You know, I'm like, what? You're in the weed? Like weed, yes. She's into weed. Awesome. We are all now into weed. Yes, sir. ITMSP. You gotta break that. Anybody else know what ITMSP is?
Information technology managed services provided.
Oh, okay. ITMS, okay. That's awesome. And yes, sir, last one.
Christopher Servant, songwriter.
Songwriting. Ooh, I love it. We have a great diverse group here. Yes, sir?
Store volunteer, but I'm making a career transition to safe breaking it, so I wanna talk to the lot of you.
Hey, I love it. See, connections being made. I love it, I love it. Okay, awesome. We have a great, great group, so this is gonna be amazing. So the reason I asked that is because we can go several different angles here, but now that I know where a lot of your industries are, we can better tailor this presentation to exactly your industry. Does that sound good? Awesome, awesome, awesome. And and I hope you know class has started, right? Because there was an example. See how before I started talking about what I was gonna talk about, I asked you, what do you do? I got closer to you. I started to get to know you. A lot of times we're so excited about our thing. Hey, here's my thing. But I don't know anything about you yet. How can I properly sell you this thing if I don't know who I'm selling it to, right? So this is one of the big mistakes a lot of people are doing in marketing. We're so excited to get our thing out there, but we don't know exactly who we're talking to. I might talk to you, well, I will talk to you differently if I know exactly who you are versus if I know who you are. I can better meet those needs, right? Does that make sense, everybody? Awesome, awesome. So I hope you see that we're getting started. All right, so who's this crazy guy up at the front of the room talking to you? Hi, I'm Marcus. Yes, the U is capitalized on purpose because at my digital marketing agency, we like to focus on you, the end consumer. I'm the founder, owner, and chief growth strategist of Social Marquee. Social Marquee is the name of our company. It's our tagline is better digital marketing for business growth. And a lot of people think that Social Marquee is a play on my name. That's actually coincidence. Social Marquee stands for Social Marketing Quintessence. And quintessence just means the highest degree of anything that you can achieve. We set the bar when it comes to digital marketing. And so Marquee, like I said, is just a coincidence. So Social Marquee is our company. We're doing digital marketing now. So proud 22 years, literally more than half my life. Doing digital marketing for 22 years since I was 16 years old. So I was doing digital marketing before it was digital marketing, before we recognized it as digital marketing. Now, you might be looking at this next point that says we're brain and behavior experts. What in the heck does that have to do with marketing? So at our digital marketing agency, our USP, how many of you know what USP is? Okay. Of course the marketer knows, the media guy knows, anybody other than the media guy knows. USP, what is your USP? What does USP stand for? Anybody know? Great! That means we're going to tell you. If you don't know something in this class this morning, all that means is you're a great big, what does this stand for? Learner. What's that, loser? Learner. You're a great big learner. I'm so glad we're going to do mindset shifts the first part of this session today. You're a great big learner, so it's okay. If you have an answer and it's not necessarily correct, that all that means is that you learned something, right? And so, yes, USP just means your unique selling proposition, or if you're a nonprofit, your unique serving proposition. This is something that each and every one of you must, not might, must do in order to differentiate yourselves in the market. No matter who you are, no matter what you do, in the eyes of your consumer, somebody does exactly what you do. In the eyes of your consumer, somebody does exactly what you do. So it is imperative that you distinguish yourself in the marketplace. Now, this isn't something that you're just going to think about and come up with out of midair. This is something you're going to have to spend some time with. Your unique selling proposition needs to be something that's hard for people to duplicate, and that distinguishes you in the eyes of your consumer in a unique way that meets their needs, right? So our unique selling proposition is we are brain and behavior experts. We study the brain at my digital marketing agency. We love learning what makes you tick, especially on the parts of your brain that you don't even know that are there. That's our specialty, right? And that's what helps distinguishes us from other digital marketing agencies. It might be a pretty good USP that's hard to distinguish, that's hard to copy, right? My doctorate is in human-computer interactions, studying the brain, right? So that sets us apart. It doesn't mean you have to have a doctorate in your field or anything like that, but you do need to spend time discovering what is it that sets you apart from other people in your industry, especially if you're in an industry that's often commoditized. We talk to a lot of real estate agents, and a lot of times they say, oh yeah, I know all the best houses and the best prices, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Every real estate agency says that. What is going to separate you from other real estate agents, from other brokers? Same thing with locksmiths. I'm like, hey, I can get Joe Blow to unlock mine. What separates you, right? Does this make sense, everyone? Awesome, awesome, awesome. So we're brain and behavior experts, and we do digital marketing at the cellular level. So really, how are the decisions that we make, how are they affected for our lives? How do we actually, how do we build on the decisions, how do we build on the processes that are going to actually help us in our lives, help our customers in our lives, and make all of our lives better. So digital marketing at a cellular level is what we like to focus on. And as I was growing up, many people asked, how did I start this digital marketing agency? It was actually by happenstance. It was not planned, so I like to say it was divine intervention. But when I was growing up, I was always the youngest person in the room, or I was always the only African-American person in the room. And don't let me be the only African-American person in the room and the youngest person in the room. So a lot of times when I was in corporate America, Bank of America, and Intel, I would have things to say, and I would raise my hand in the meeting, and I would try and say something, and I would often get feedback like, hold on, youngin', we got it. Or I was a college professor for 7 years, full-time college professor. Same thing happened. I was like, hey, well, why don't we do this? Why don't we do X, Y, and Z? Same exact response. Youngin', we got it. Somebody said I was green behind the ears. I never got that. But I looked it up on Google, and I found out, oh, they mean I'm young. They mean that they think I'm inexperienced and things of this sort. So after a while, with all this constant, my ideas being shunned and shut down, after a while, no one else had to shut down my ideas. I would shut down my own ideas. I wouldn't express them. I was like, nobody's going to listen anyway, so why should I express them, right? Thankfully, through the help of mentors, through the help of various organizations like SCORE, I found my voice again and learned that I do have value to give. I do have value to contribute, right? I do have things that the world needs to hear, which I firmly believe is the reason that we are all on this earth. You have something unique to give to the world. Our job is during this lifetime is to find out what that is and actually deliver it to the world. That's why you're here. You want to learn how do we speak so that the world hears us. Does that make sense? And so this is why we started our digital marketing agency. This is our why. Everybody has uniqueness. Everybody's uniqueness needs to be heard. Everybody's uniqueness contributes to the world that we live in and can help make the world a better place. What we want to do is help connect you with the people who are destined and who need your particular services, who need your particular uniqueness, so that we can build these connections and make connections that make the world a better place. Does that make sense? So this is our why. This is why we do what we do. And this is why we started Social Marquee. So Social Marquee has now been in business for 12 years. It started in 2008. I'm so glad, thankfully. In 2020, we are still alive, kicking, and growing. So super, super excited about that, super blessed. You might be looking up here and like, hey, who is this funny looking guy? This is actually not me. Many people think it's me. But this, I'm kidding. It's me. the looks on your face, you're like, really? Wow. That digital marketing is just amazing, isn't it? So no, this is me. This is actually my book. Thankfully, by the grace of God, international bestseller in 3 countries and 5 categories. By how United States, Canada, and France. France, how? I don't know. A wise man said, don't ask questions, just be thankful. So I said, okay, I'll just be thankful. And a lot of you might be looking at this. We'll talk about this link a lot throughout this course this morning. bit.ly/score class. You will hear me say it a lot because we want you to actually go to it and do a couple of things there. And we will get to it here in a second. And so now let's move on to the good stuff. You might be looking and wondering, all right, Marcus, when we first started, I saw this funny looking picture of the brain. Because we're going to talk about the brain. We're going to talk about why this is so important. We're going to talk about why, how, when people make buying decisions. And it's not what you think. It's not what you've been told. It's not the surface level things that many people focus on. Unfortunately, marketing, unfortunately, tends to get a very surface level treatment in our society, especially with the rise of social media. A lot of times we'll see something on social media and we'll try to mimic that, but for whatever reason it doesn't give us the same results. We're going to discover why now. Sound good? Yes. Awesome. All right. Another thing I want to do with you, in 5 words or less, I know many of you have a lot to share, and if I lovingly rush you along, know that it's just for an interest of time. In 5 words or less, please sum up challenges that you're having in your industry. Challenges that you're having in your industry. Now, these could be marketing challenges, these could be business challenges, these could also be life challenges. Here's another lesson for you. The 3 are always, always, always connected. Marketing, business, and life. Those challenges that you're having are always, always connected. So in 5 words or less, I want you to just sum up what are some of the challenges that you're having, and we're going to try and rope those into the presentation as much as possible this morning as well. Did I see your hand? Yes, ma'am.
For me, it's competition.
Competition. How many of you have challenges with competition? Awesome, awesome, awesome. Competition. Good one. Yes, ma'am.
Oversaturation.
Oversaturation.
And food and beverage. 85% of food and beverages, like businesses make it.
Awesome.
So.
Well, not awesome, but y'all understand what I'm saying. Food and beverage, yes, sir.
Funding.
Funding. Were you looking at my notes earlier? Okay, we're going to talk about funding next, actually. Okay, funding, food and beverage. So the only 10% make it. So we're going to talk a lot about differentiation. That goes back to the USP that we talked about earlier. Unique selling proposition. How do we set you apart in the marketplace that's relevant to your clients? That's the key. That's relevant to your clients. Not just that you're different, not just, well, I'm me. How do we effectively communicate that to the client that they actually want to do business with us, and not just do business with us over and over and over, and recommend us to others. Does that make sense? Awesome, awesome, awesome. Other challenges, 5 words or less. Yes, ma'am.
Growing contacts list.
Growing contacts lists. Awesome. We're going to talk about that this morning. Yes, ma'am.
Just having a time, working a full-time job.
Having the time? How many of you don't have the time? What kind of Mickey Mouse thing? No. Not having the time. Awesome, awesome, awesome. And what did I see? Oh, right here. Where am I?
Unaware of the service.
Unaware of the service that you provide or that they need. Awesome. Awesome. Did y'all hear that? Unaware of the service. One that we provide as well as what they need. And I hope you do see there's a clear distinction there. We're going to talk about that. Yes, sir.
Social media technology impacting grown adults.
Social media impacting
Grown adults that want to be in business and
grown. Oh, okay. Awesome. Yeah. Social media that's impacting grown-ups or baby boomer generation or even Gen X now. Gen X now is 53-ish. In the Gen X organization, the Gen X generation. Okay, awesome. Yeah, we're gonna talk about that. Yes, sir.
You've got a comment, please, to say, a few seconds to say it, how you
Oh,
choose.
you were looking at my notes. You were looking at my notes, man. What's your name? You got a lot of things to say on only a short amount of time to say it. How many of you know that's true? The average human attention span is now less than that of a goldfish. Less than half of that of a goldfish. The average human attention span is less than 2.1 seconds. 2.1 seconds. How can you get the attention of your target audience when you're on Facebook, when you're on Twitter, when you're on Instagram in less than 2.1 seconds? A lot of times we see people doing videos. Hi, my name is Marcus. Guess what? They just scroll past you. They don't care what your name is. They care about what they care about. Right? It's not about you. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about how to get over that as well. Great, great. Last one. I thought I saw a hand. Did I not? No more challenges? Great. I know there's another challenge. SEO. SEO, how many of you know what SEO is? Search engine optimization. SEO, huge challenge. Yes, SEO is, we don't cover that much here, but a lot of the principles that we talk about will be helpful here as well. All right, so SEO, how do we get on the first page of Google? I will tell you, it is a dedicated discipline. All right, so a lot of people come to us for SEO. We tell them out the gate, SEO takes about 6 to 9 months for you to start to see results, for you to do consistent work every single day. Because remember, your competition is doing work every single day. Somebody mentioned competition. All right, so SEO is its own discipline. A lot of people like to do this kind of what we call black hat SEO. It's not going to work for you. Google is smart. You're not going to be smarter than Google. All right? Just letting you know. All right? So good. Great challenges, great input. So let's keep it up throughout the day. All right, so many of you might be looking at your wallets kind of like this. I'm doing marketing, I'm spending money, but I'm not getting the money back. And a lot of people, somebody said earlier today, oh, if I only had more funding, if I only had more money. How many of you believe if I had more money, if I had more funding, a lot of these problems will go away? Oh yeah? Some of them? Ooh, not our first mindset shift, our second, third. We've had a lot of mindset shifts so far.
Not if they don't know how to use the funding effectively.
Not if they don't know how to use the funding effectively. So this is something we get from a lot of businesses. A lot of times when we're meeting with businesses and they say, oh, if I just had the money, or when we're consulting with a client and I say, oh my goodness, I love you guys, I really want to work with you guys, but I don't have the money, or you're too expensive, or maybe some of your services people will say they're too expensive. One of the things we start with when we start talking about money, and this comes from one of my mentors, and you might know this guy, John Rivers. He owns several Four Rivers restaurants here. Very smart guy. I want you to take a look at this quote. If you've gotten to where money is the solution or money is the problem, you have not gotten to the root. You have not gotten to the real root of the problem. If we've gotten to the point where money is the solution or money is the problem, you have not gotten to the real root of the problem. Money is a symptom. Money is a symptom of what's really going wrong. Right? Are you not being creative enough? Are you not being leveraging enough? Are you not spending enough effective time? Do you not have the proper implementation? Do you not have the proper team, even if you're a team of one? Right? Money is a symptom of what's really going on. It's never the problem, it's never the solution. Right? So we like to focus on what are the roots of a problem, not the fruits of the problem. Does that make sense? So a lot of times we focus on the fruits because we see the fruits. But if you're looking at a fruit tree, what you don't see, the roots underneath the tree, are really where the problem lies. And that's where we really need to focus. And why is this the case? So many of you might have heard about lottery winners. Lottery winners. How many of you heard of this about lottery winners? Within 5 years, over 90% of the lottery winners that win the lottery are more broke than when they actually won the lottery. How is this possible? They got their millions, they got whatever. How are they more broke? The mindset is the same. The money thermostat is the same. If you have a thermostat in your house, right, whenever it gets too hot, the thermostat kicks on and cools it down. If it gets too cold, the thermostat kicks on and heats it up, right? If your money thermostat is not adjusted when you get that money, or even before you get that money, remember, it's your mindset is the same way. It's gonna just get rid of those millions and millions and millions of dollars. It seems impossible, but it happens time and time again, right? Another study was shown that by CNBC, money does not equal happiness either, right? So a lot of people say, hey, if I just have more money, I'll be happier. Again, money is a symptom. What is the root cause? Money is a resource. And so what we need to focus on is how do we be more resourceful to get the money? If I don't have the money, how can I be more creative? How can I solve this problem from a unique perspective, right? But focusing on the money, and that's the way society is kind of programmed. It's not common. This kind of thinking is not common. Most people think, yeah, money is the problem, right? So that's the first mindset shift we want to get into your noggins today. Money is a resource. Money is a symptom, right? So same thing with success. Success is like an iceberg. Success is like an iceberg. So with an iceberg, you see the top bit of here, and you see this on social media. Hey, you got 10 million followers, or hey, I'm Kim Kardashian. Not really, but I'm Kim Kardashian, and I have all of this influence in X, Y, and Z. We see the success, but we never see what it took to get to that success. We don't see the lonely nights. We don't see the persistence. We don't see the failures. We don't see all the things that it took to get that success. Right? So most of success is underneath the water that we never see. Does this make sense so far? Same thing with your marketing. And we're going to come back to this picture later. Most of your marketing success is among the things that you do not see. Right? It's among the things that you will never see. Okay? So these are some of the things we're going to focus on today because we want you to get that success. If you get the success down here, it will show up here. But what do most people do? Most people focus up here and they wonder why we're not seeing the results because we didn't take care of the root of the problem. Does this all make sense? Is this all coming 360? Awesome, awesome, awesome. All right, so I mentioned we're going to get into the brain, and right now, I love this stuff. Is it just me? I love this stuff. All right, so the brain. The average human has close to 60,000 thoughts every single day. The average human. Now, I ask you, my coffee with the leader family, are you average? No. Somebody say, yeah, well, sometimes. I was like, oh, I was so pressed. No, you're not average. Average people are at home. Average people are still asleep. Average people are doing something else other than right here, right now. Right? So the average person has 60,000 thoughts. Entrepreneurs, parallelpreneurs, people who are working full-time and still doing their job on the side or doing their entrepreneurship, building it up. Parents, leaders, etc. We have close to 85,000 thoughts every single day. So, your mind is trying to do you a favor. Your mind is constantly discarding thousands of bits of information every single second. Every single second, discarding thousands of bits of information. Why? How many of you are already overwhelmed now? Could you imagine being even more overwhelmed with the thousands of bits of information that you're able to take in every single second? You might be wondering, well, I only see this thing on the board. Your mind is purposely deleting things that it does not deem as relevant. Right now, you can take in how many lights are on, how many lights are off, how many people have glasses, how many people have red hair, how many people have black hair, how many people have no hair, how many people have blue shirts, how many people have yellow shirts, how many carpet squares are in the carpet, how many little bumble things are in the carpet, how many spots are on the wall. All these things your mind has the ability to be taking in right now. But your mind is saying, hey, most of these things are not relevant. How can I delete what isn't relevant and focus on what is relevant? Make sense so far? Mm-hmm. The problem is, most of your marketing messages are amongst those thousands of bits of information that are deleted every single second because your consumer's mind do not see them as relevant. Make sense? All right, let's keep going a step further. So for simplicity's sake, let's say the human mind is divided into two pieces. Now, it's a little more complicated than that, but being simplistic. Divided into two pieces, your subconscious mind and your conscious mind. Your subconscious mind is everything that you're thinking about. Your conscious mind is everything that you're thinking about that you're aware that you're thinking about. That thought that you just had, that's your conscious mind. Your subconscious mind is everything that's going on in your mind that you're not aware that's going on in your mind. So that thought that you just had, that's still your conscious mind. But the thoughts that you're not aware that's going on in your mind, that's your subconscious mind. Now, as a matter of percentage, how much of your mind do you think is your conscious mind versus your subconscious mind? And if you've been in my courses before, and you've seen this part, do not talk, give everybody else an opportunity to see if they know what the answer is. You like that little bump I just did? As a matter of percentage, how much of your mind do you think is your conscious mind and how much of your mind is your subconscious mind? 5% in what direction?
5% of your conscious mind, everything else is subconscious.
5% conscious and 95% subconscious? Okay, so the vast majority of the chaos is going on in your head, you're not aware that's going on in your head? Okay,
We only use 10% of our brain.
fair enough, okay.
I say
Only use,
20.
that's a myth, by the way, we use 100% of our brain, but we'll get to why that is the case as well.
20/80.
20/80 in what direction?
Same.
Same? So still the majority of the chaos is going on in their head, we're not aware that's going on in their head? Okay, and one more guess. Say again? Lower than 5 in what direction?
2% conscious.
2% conscious, 98 sub. Wow. Okay, so the vast majority of you saying that most of the chaos is going on in your head, you're not aware that's going on in your head. And most of you, all of you would be 100% correct. 100% correct. Most of the chaos is going on in here you're not consciously aware of. The exact numbers are actually close to 95.5%. Some, even in some cases, 97% as it relates to your conscious mind. The rest of it is totally subconscious. Why does this matter? Your subconscious mind drives your conscious behavior. So everything you're actually thinking about, that has precursors in your subconscious mind. So would it be more effective as your marketing efforts to focus on the subconscious or the conscious mind? Subconscious mind. And that's exactly what we do as well. So we're going to help you do that right now as well. All right. Good. So, if the subconscious mind is driving, real quick to address that myth that we only use 10% of our brains. So the myth around that is actually focused around the subconscious versus the conscious mind. So we're only aware of the conscious part of our mind, and that's what people say we only use 10% or 7% or 5% of our mind. We use 100% of our brain, but only a small percent of that is your conscious mind, and that's kind of where the myth comes. So that's one thing we do is we dispel that myth. So I'm so glad you brought that up. Thank you. All right, so your subconscious mind has 4 major priorities. The first major priority of your subconscious mind is it is designed for your safety. It doesn't want you to die. It doesn't want you to get hurt physically, but also mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. It doesn't want you to feel bad. It doesn't want you to get cheated by that business partner. It doesn't want you to get hurt in that relationship. It doesn't want you to try a new goal and fail at that new goal, and then you feel like a failure. It doesn't want you to do these things. So it's designed for your safety. It's not designed for your happiness. It's not designed to help you reach your goals. It is designed to keep you safe. Now, the problem with this, your subconscious mind sees safety as familiarity. Right? So things that you've done before, things that you've experienced before, it's designed to keep you kind of in this safety comfort box. Does this make sense? All right. Yes, sir.
Is that why a lot of times when you try and lose weight, it'll fluctuate at a certain point, but for some reason you always end up back at that same 5-pound?
Absolutely. I've had the same experience over the last 3 years. I don't say lost weight, because I don't want to find it. So I released about 20 pounds. Somehow I did still find it 3 years later. So I got to release that weight again. But exactly. Your money thermostat or your mind thermostat, not just your money thermostat, your weight thermostat, your success thermostat, your income thermostat, your goals thermostat. How many of you have set goals and you've done the exact opposite of the goals that you set? Yeah, it's called New Year's. I'm going to take a wild guess, go out on a limb here. It's February now. I mean, some of you don't even remember your New Year's resolution, right? Because a lot of the ways that we're accustomed to doing things just aren't working, right? And we actually have a seminar about New Year's resolutions and how to actually achieve the New Year's resolutions that you set at this free seminar. It's at bit.ly/scoreclass, bit.ly/scoreclass, and we go into that because it has a lot to do with mindset. So as we mentioned, we study the brain. The brain has a lot of different applications: goal setting, goal productivity, as well as marketing, right? As well as leadership. All right, so safety, number 1 priority of your subconscious mind. Number 2 priority of your subconscious mind, it wants to be right. Why does it want to be right? That way you trust it when it's trying to keep you safe. Make sense? Third priority of your subconscious mind, it wants to preserve energy. Why does it want to preserve energy? Because remember, it's deleting thousands of bits of information every single second. Right? So if it can conserve energy, that's more time it can spend keeping you safe. Does that make sense? And 4th priority is subconscious mind, it wants to know why. It wants to know why. Does it want to know why? So they can put things in categories so that every time it comes across the same thing again, it doesn't have to figure it out, so it can spend more time keeping you safe. Does that make sense? So a perfect example of this is every chair you've seen in your life look exactly like this chair. No, but your mind puts chairs in a category. Something that looks something similar, kind of, sort of like this, it can put in the category of chair. That way, every time it comes across something that looks like a chair, it doesn't have to figure out how to sit down in it again. Does that make sense? So it's all doing this all to conserve energy. All right, so, yes, ma'am.
I just have a question.
Well, I just have an answer.
There's so much psychology involved here. This particular visual, since it's 1, 2, 3, 4, why wasn't it done clockwise so that it would follow 1, 2, 3, 4?
Great question. Anybody have a thought? Why this? And this is deep psychology, super deep psychology.
You couldn't even get a question.
So the question was, since it's 1, 2, 3, 4, why wasn't it done clockwise in order to mimic how we naturally think?
To make us think.
To make you think?
Because they overlap with each other.
Because they overlap with each other? Good. All good guesses. The reason this was done this way, deep psychology, and I'm so glad you picked up on this, was completely random. I have absolutely no idea why I did it this way. But I'm sure there's some kind of sprinkle of why I did it this way. Maybe because safety is the core of the problem.
Only because for memorization purposes, the other would have made it simpler.
That could possibly be. There's really no rhyme or reason to the order of why this, and I think I skipped around. I think I did 1, 2, 3, 4, or something
See all the
like
credit I
that.
give
So,
you.
but I love the answers, and I love the way you guys were thinking about that totally random thing that I did. So nothing has meaning except the meaning that we give it. Same thing in marketing. Same thing with your customers. So a lot of times if we don't make the meaning or the intention of what we're trying to do super crystal clear for them, they will make up their own meaning. And remember, they have 65, 60,000, 85, some of them, different thoughts that they're trying to think about, different thoughts that they're trying to prioritize, and you're giving them the freedom to make the decision about your particular product or service and you. Right? Does that make sense? Y'all see how we do that full circle? Good. All right, I saw a hand. Yes, ma'am, and then yes, sir.
I was just gonna say safety is all in caps and it is the darkest one, so it kind of grounds like everything else, so I think.
I like that. I'm gonna go with that.
Back around.
Safety is all in caps and it's the darkest one, so it kind of grounds everything. I just came up with that just now. No, I'm teasing. I saw that. Thank you, but I like that. Yes, sir.
Muscle memory, how does that all fall into that?
Muscle memory, great question. People ask about muscle memory. So remember when I said here, we do digital marketing on a cellular level? Your body makes decisions faster than your mind. Your body makes decisions faster than your mind. Why is that? Because, remember, your mind is trying to preserve energy. So your mind puts a lot of the decisions and the habits and the muscle memory in your muscles. That's something we call embodiment. Right? Have you ever been driving somewhere and you meant to make one turn, but you start driving where you normally drive all the time? That's muscle memory. That's embodiment. Your body makes decisions before your mind does. Same thing with your customers on social media. Remember, they're scrolling on Facebook. They're scrolling up. Their thumbs are now in muscle memory to do this thing. We have to do something super powerful to get them to stop scrolling to look at our thing. Does this make sense? Great question. I'm so glad you asked that. So decisions live in our body. Remember I said we do digital marketing at a cellular level. We do digital marketing that gets into the cells where the memory and where decisions are really made, not necessarily your mind. And your cells are also part of that subconscious neurology of networks that lives in our bodies. Does this make sense? This all coming full circle? Is this interesting stuff? Oh, I love it. All right, you're my type of group. So, priorities of your subconscious mind. Now, the mechanism in your mind that actually helps decide whether these things are going to get through to your conscious mind, for your subconscious mind, is your RAS. Your RAS, your reticular activation system. So your RAS is your RAS is what's discarding those thousands of bits of information from getting to your conscious mind. That's what's protecting you from even more overwhelm than you're probably experiencing right now. So your RAS is always at work. I'm going to give you a few examples of your RAS at work. Something that you probably experienced. Have you ever bought a car? Leased a car, rented a car, and before you bought that car, you didn't see it anywhere on the road, but after you bought that car, you see it everywhere. That is not because everyone in the world decided to buy the same car that you bought at the exact same time. That's your RAS now kicking in saying, hey, this has something to do with my safety, let me now pay attention to it. Right? That's your RAS kicking in. Instead of deleting that information, it's now letting it into your conscious mind. Does that make sense? Another example that I want to give you all right now, your RAS at work. I want everyone to look around, and I want you to look around for blue. Everyone, look around for blue. Look for blue, look for blue. There's blue everywhere. There's blue on you. There's blue through and through. I don't know why I just said that like Dr. Seuss, but I like it. Look for blue, look for blue, look for blue. Stop. All right, now close your eyes. Now tell me everything in the room that you saw that was orange. So it's, and I'm sure you could probably go back and remember, but right then and there, you were focused on blue. Your mind was purposely deleting everything in the room that you thought that was blue, or that you saw that was blue. And that's what it was grabbing at that particular moment. It was purposely discarding everything else that was not blue in that particular exercise. Does that make sense? Same thing that your customers are doing. Your customers have pain points. Your customers have things that they need solved. And they're looking subconsciously a lot of times for those solutions. If you're coming on here, hey, I'm a locksmith and I unlock your locks, the only time I'm going to think about you is possibly when I have a lock that's being unlocked. And if I can't remember you or remember particularly your information at the time, I'm going to look at whoever's convenient at the time, right? So these are some of the things that we want to remember, how our customers are processing information even when we're not in front of them, right? So how we can stay top of mind for them, especially if you're a lawyer, if you're any type of field that you're involved in. Does this make sense? And this is especially effective for coaches, life coaches, personal development coaches. Why? Because it's an intangible. It's one of those things that we can't necessarily see the benefits of. We can explain them, we can describe them, but it's not something tangible that says, hey, I pay $1,000 and I get this pure gold thing. I like this. So we're not going to, yeah. But it's not one of those things, right? Does that make sense? All right, so a couple ways to get beyond the RAS when you're doing your social media, when you're doing your email marketing, when you're doing all your marketing. How can we get beyond the RAS? 2 ways. Would you like to know? Actually, there's about 20 ways, but we're only going to cover 2 major ways that you can use in your social media. The first one is storytelling. It's almost impossible for the human mind to not engage in a relevant story. Now, in order for it to be relevant, you have to know who you're talking to. And it's not men between the ages of 35 and 65. No, I'm talking to, what's your name? Martin. I'm talking to Martin. Martin is an African-American male. He is approximately 41 years old. He makes $85,000 a year. He has 3 kids, ages 12, 16, and 2. You see the granular nature that I'm getting with. Now, if I know Martin on that level, might I be able to relate to him closer than if I just try to speak to males 35 to 65, right? That's kind of the old school way of marketing, dealing with demographics, dealing with these large numbers. But a lot of times, if you don't have the numbers to play the numbers game, and you don't have the finances, you don't have the team, you don't have the time. Somebody mentioned time earlier today. Somebody over here mentioned time earlier today, right? Then we're expending money, we're spending time, we're spending resources and not getting the benefits that we want to see in return. However, that's how we compete with the big boys. Let's get more intimate with our clients. Get more intimate with the people we're trying to reach. Intimacy is what's missing in all of these great digital marketing efforts. Intimacy is what's missing in social media. Can you get more intimate with your client? Intimacy, I want you to remember that. Break it down and slow it down. Intimacy, right? Can you allow them to see into you? That's how they're going to build trust with you. People who are doing business with people online, who they trust, know, like, and trust. And yes, I said trust twice because it is that important. Why is it that important? Because of safety, right? If I don't trust you, then I don't feel safe with you, even if it's not on a subconscious level. This is the way we're biologically wired. And the human mind is biologically wired to a negative bias. I automatically, when I see you online, don't trust you because I've already experienced so many different bad experiences online from other people who didn't mean good by me. Does this make sense?
Yes.
Does this all connecting together? Awesome. All right, storytelling. The second major way to get beyond the RAS is myth busting. Many of you, we did it earlier today, right? So myth busting, what it does is it challenges the subconscious mind. It challenges what we think we know. And if there's something about that we think we know and now we have new information about it, we have to reevaluate it. And so because the subconscious mind, remember we discussed here, the subconscious mind wants to be right. If I introduce new information to you from a credible source, your subconscious mind is at least going to take a look at it to make sure that it has the right information because it likes it right because it wants to keep you safe. Does this make sense? So myth busting, we did it earlier. We only use 10% of our brain. Well, hey, you know, that's a common myth that's out there. Let's perhaps give you a little more information about that. The reason people say 10% is because of the subconscious, conscious mind, and we saw how we went through that piece a little earlier. A myth that I often bust is at our agency, a lot of people say, hey, Marcus, we want to reach millennials. And I'm like, great, so tell us about the millennials you want to reach. All right, so when they're in class, when they're taking tests, and yada, 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 you're like, class? Tests? Yeah, they're college students, things of this sort. And well, we take a little bow and we're like, well, thank you. You know, we don't like to age either. But millennials, we're getting older. The oldest millennials this year are 39 years old, born in 1981. Beyonce is the oldest, well, I can't say that, she's not the oldest, but you get what I'm saying, she's born in 1981, right? Mark Zuckerberg, how many of you know who Mark Zuckerberg is? Facebook, owner of Facebook, creator of Facebook, he is 37 this year. Myself, oh, damn, I didn't think about that. I'll be 38 this year. Damn, I didn't think about that. Oh, darn, I forgot who else I can. Darn, I'll be 38 this year, right? We're getting older, right? The generation that's now in college is Gen Z. Gen Z, and if you met some Gen Z, we are vastly different, millennials and Gen Z, right? Or post-millennials, right? They were born around 1995, and they're the students that are in college right now, right? Vastly different characteristics. Technically, there's vastly different differences between older millennials and younger millennials. So a lot of younger millennials, we have a lot of differences from us older millennials as well, right? So it's all sorts of different myths that we like to bust in marketing, and in your industry, there are myths right now that you can bust, right now, in digital media, in coaching, especially, in law, in everything that you're doing, locksmithing, somebody mentioned, I think, plumbing earlier, real estate, there's so many myths that you can bust, and it gets beyond the RAS. When you're doing things in your Facebook feed, when you're doing things with your social media posts, when you're doing things in your email, when you're doing anything with your digital marketing and with your offline marketing. Offline marketing means just your physical marketing. Your business cards, all these things. Storytelling and myth busting are two ways to get beyond the RAS. Else, your offline marketing, guess where it ends up? In the trash, or like me, you have 1,000 cards stored in a shoebox that I've been meaning to go through for years, or give to my assistant for years to digitize, and we just haven't gotten around to it, right? You don't want to end up in that. Now, there are a few cards that are sitting on my desk that I know I need to follow up with. Why? Because we either made a connection, there was either intimacy there, we made a connection, and now there's that trust, and now from the trust we can do some business because we have some commonalities and some common interests. Make sense? Awesome. Uh-oh. Did I turn it off? Or did the battery die? All right, I can control it. All right, so I'll do this thing. Hey! Okay, well, I can talk to them in certain minutes, that's not a problem.
Who did you say was in control?
Huh? What'd you say?
I said, who did you say was in control?
Who did I say? You know? Apparently I'm not in control right now, so we're just gonna leave it on myth busting for the whole rest of the time, right? So it looks like it has frozen, which is not a problem, because what I can do is this, yeah. See? We're gonna make it work. We're gonna make it do something. Huh. Now let's see if that works.
It's not, yeah, it's not my phone, it's his.
And it doesn't. Hey, it did. Hi. Oh, that's because we need to go back. And it might help if I put the other battery back in, all right? Okay, let's try it now. Da-da-da-da-da. Wow. Wow, thank you for that reaction. Okay, so what we're gonna do, we're just gonna do it like that. And that means I gotta pull this over a little more, so no problem. All right, so you mentioned earlier that most of your marketing efforts are gonna be beneath the iceberg, right? So same kind of breakdown here. We see that 95% of the success of our marketing, 95% of our marketing efforts, of our digital marketing efforts, of our success, of our business success are going to be those things underneath the iceberg. underneath the iceberg. So what are some of those things underneath the, well, first of all, before we get underneath the iceberg, what's on top of the iceberg? Social media, likes and follows. We love those lovely likes and follows, right? Your website, anything that you can see, perceive with the 5 human senses is the top 5% of the iceberg. Your website, I can see it, it's your 5% of the iceberg. Videos, I can see it, it's the 5% of the iceberg. Your marketing materials, most of your promotional materials is 5% of the iceberg. Does this make sense? But that's where most of the focus goes. Success is those things that we can't see. Demographics, those things. Is the person black? Are they white? Are they Hispanic? Are they between the ages of 2 and 3? 2 and 3. Are they between the ages of 20? Yeah, if they're between the ages of 2 and 3, you might want to try selling to their parents. But if and that's another thing. Knowing who our customers are. A lot of times we don't differentiate our consumer versus our customer. Right? Our consumer is who consumes the product. Our customer is who actually purchases the product. And a lot of times they're two different people. We have to define them differently, and we have to do our marketing and our promotional materials differently for each of those categories. Does that make sense? All right. So, demographics, social media, logo. Everybody comes to us saying, "Hey, we want a website, we want a logo," and we're like, "Great! Your website and your logo. Can I see your website? Can I see your logo? Can I see your website? Can I see your logo?"
Yes.
Anything with the 5 humans that can be perceived with the 5 human senses: see, touch, taste, and what other 2 senses are? Hear and smell. Thank you. Anything you can perceive with 5 human senses are part of the 5% of the iceberg, right? We need to focus on what's beneath the iceberg, what drives the success of those. Your strategy, your mindset, your goals, your vision, your mission. Things that a lot of times we don't think about. It's not the fun, sexy parts of business. Your mission, your goals, your vision, hey, we want to make money. Making money is not a vision. Making money is a result, right? What's your vision? What's your why? Why do you do what you do? Your systems, and this is not technical systems. What are your, oh, hey, it works again. What are your processes, your SOP, your standard operating procedures, right? You might be surprised over here, I have branding down here in the 95%. True branding. A lot of people think branding is your logo. Branding is not your logo. Your branding is your reputation. Your logo just reminds people of that reputation. Does this make sense? All right, so true branding is part of the 95%, and we go on all this in greater detail. Psychographics. How many of you have heard of psychographics? Psychographics are, so demographics are what we can see, phenotypical features, and all phenotypical features means are they black, are they white, are they, what's their age, things of that sort. Demographics are phenotypical features, and most of the world is still on demographics. What's really impactful and how you can really get the best bang for your buck is if you focus on psychographics. What's the mindset of the people we're trying to reach? What's the mindset of Martin? Now that I know Martin from a 5% level, I know he's an African American, I know he's 41, I know he has 3 kids, I know his income level, all that great stuff. What's now his mindset? What is his conversation as he's thinking about his problems or service that my business solves? Does that make sense? What is his mindset around? What is he thinking about? What are the questions are he thinking about, right? Even deeper than the family. Family is broad. Let's get it deep. Let's get it granular as humanly possible. The more granular you can get in this process, the more success you're going to have with your marketing efforts. Because now I have that intimacy. Remember, into me I see, right? Intimacy, that's what we're looking for. Is this making sense? Awesome, awesome, awesome. Wait a minute, is this making sense? Yeah. Okay, awesome. All right, so, did I miss one? Oh, the customer experience and the customer journey. All right, what does their customer experience and customer journey look like from the time that they don't know about you to the time that they're complete with you? What does that experience look like? Many of us have not mapped that experience. We have mapped that experience from the time that they don't know us to the time that they are complete with us. And hopefully that time that they're complete with us is a long, long way off. And how does it look even when they are complete with us? How do we map out that entire customer journey, right? That entire customer experience from start to finish. And here's a clue. It's not linear. It's not going to be, they don't know us, they know about us, they buy this, they do this, they recommend this, and yeah, then we're done. It's never linear. It's exactly what you're doing. It's all over the place. So we have to come up with this customer journey. It kind of looks like a tree almost. They start here. Are they interested or not? Or are they not interested? Yes or no? And then each yes or no has a yes or no. How do we draft that customer tree? How do we draft that customer experience? Right? And I'm so glad you asked, because are you learning a lot today?
Yes.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. This link right here, this is not our website. This is what we call a landing page. And I see many of you writing it down. I encourage you to go right now on your mobile phones. It's mobile friendly, and I encourage you to go to bit.ly/4class. And like I said, it's not our website. It's what we call a landing page. And this landing page, you can only do one thing, which is give us your name, your email, and a few nice things about the session if you enjoyed the session today. Right? So bit.ly/4class, don't write it down. Go there right now. And why do I tell you not to write it down? Because I know you. You have great intentions. And those great intentions are going to be on your paper a year from now, meaning for you to do it because you got busy doing some other things. So go right now to bit.ly/4class, and we have free. How much? Free. Everything we talked about so far today, and we still got more to go, by the way. So if your mind is blown, it's about to get more blown, or, yeah, maybe words. But we have free webinars on each one of these things all the time. In fact, we actually have a free small business summit coming up on February 18th and 19th, where myself and about 9 other speakers for 2 full days online are just going to speak about how to do better in your business for free. You go to this link, bit.ly/4class, you enter your name and your email, you get free access to that as well. Right? So there's a lot of perks and bonuses for doing this for free. And while you're going to bit.ly/4class, I'm going to take 1 or 2 comments and or questions. So go to bit.ly/4class, go there right now on your mobile phones or your iPads. And yes, ma'am.
The seminar, are those videos going to be available after those dates?
For a short amount of time, yes. They'll be available for a short amount of time after those dates for free as well. For, I think, 24 hours after those dates. So you want to make sure you make time in your schedule to watch the videos that are relevant for you in that summit, okay? Second, the date, if you go to bit.ly/4class, all that information is sent to you, all right? Second, Wi-Fi is, where's the thing? You might have to use your data because they have the Wi-Fi written down and I don't remember what it is.
I'll go get it.
Oh, Joe's going to get it. So while Joe runs and gets that, thank you so much, Joe. While Joe runs and gets that, any other quick questions while we move on? Because we got part 2.
After that date, after 24 hours, will you put out the information for sale for people?
Yes, so there's a free option for the summit and there's a purchase option for the summit. Those who purchase it's a small investment. They get lifetime access to all the recordings, all the access, all the, I think it's 12 sessions that we're gonna have over those 2 days. And I think it's like $40 or something like that for lifetime access. All right. But there's a free option as well. We encourage people, get the free option. If you want the lifetime access, it's there for you, but get the free option and make sure you're there to experience it. Because we have people coming from, we have millionaires on the summit. We have women, men, all demographic ages, all levels of success. We have people who went bankrupt and their money thermostat that we talked about earlier was set properly and they earned it all back and more, right? So we have people who've experienced a lot of the faults that a lot of small businesses face and how they've overcome them. So go to this link, bit.ly/4class. Again, just enter your name, your email, a few nice comments about us. And there's also a link to our Facebook page. If you've learned things from this session, please leave us a Facebook review as well. That really helps us let people know that, hey, these free sessions that they give are really helpful and really valuable if you find them really helpful and really valuable. All right? Oh, many of you are shaking your head, so I thank you so much. And Joe has the Wi-Fi for those of you who need the Wi-Fi.
All right, it's NEC Public, and the password is N, capital, underscore under the N, EC 2020, exclamation point. For those of you that are hard of hearing,
It's NEC lower cap.
it's NEC, lower cap. NEC, I guess it's between OK boomers and millennials and Gen Z, we use different terms for it.
You know, you say underscore, I was like, underscore.
Underline. NEC Public, and then N underscore, capital N, EC 2020, exclamation point.
Meaning the N is capitalized.
What?
Oh.
No, not two names.
Meaning the N is capitalized?
Yes.
So capital N, EC?
Yeah.
Okay.
But that's it.
You said N underscore.
Yeah, EC.
The underscore I thought was, okay, just listen to him. So I think it's capital N, EC, 2020, exclamation point. Capital N, lowercase EC, 2020, exclamation point. bit.ly/scoreclass, because there's so, people, we're talking about the tip of the tip of the tip of the tip of the iceberg here today. There's so much more we have to give you, so much more we want to give you. It's part of our give back. We understand that a lot of people just aren't able to afford agency level investments. So our mission is how do we help good people positively impact massively more and more good people. And this is one of the things that we do for our mission. We're a firm believer as we continue to follow our mission, continue to follow our values and our vision. The money comes, which is true, right? The summit, it's free. It's a cost for us. We don't get anything for the summit, but we're trying to do good for society. We're trying to give good people the tools that they need to reach people that they need to reach. All right, so go to bit.ly/scoreclass. bit.ly/scoreclass. Yes, sir.
It says, Marcus was phenomenal. The information was powerful and thought-provoking. He's also personable and funny. Definitely coming back to hear him speak.
Thank you, Jonathan. I appreciate that, sir. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. And thank you all of you who went there. And we're going to move on with the rest of this. bit.ly/scoreclass. Make sure you go there. All right. So why is everything that we're talking about so daggone important? And it's also on the bottom of every screen that we go from here on out as well. So if you're still going there, it'll be there to remind you to bit.ly/scoreclass right there on your mobile phones and or tablets. All right, so why is all this so important? This is because of the way how many of you have heard of Simon Sinek? Simon Sinek he's a speaker. He actually started out as a marketer, and now he's a speaker, and he has this concept called the golden circle. And what the golden circle is this concept right here. And what, to explain the golden circle, it's best to give an example. So we'll give the example of Apple. How Apple does marketing, how Apple does branding. If Apple did marketing and branding like everybody else, they'll probably start like everybody else starts, from what they see to what they don't see. They'll go from the outside in. What we do, how we do it, and why we do it. If Apple did marketing like everybody else, they'd start from the outside in. But what? I'll give you an example. Apple doing marketing like everybody else. Hey, we make computers. How? Because we can, and we're rich, and we know how to do those things. You want to buy one? It's not really a powerful proposition, is it? But let's fast forward. The way Apple actually does their marketing and their promotion and their branding. They start with a why, which is harder to start with because we don't see it. Apple starts, this is kind of something how they do their messaging. We believe everyone is an individual. Everyone has unique and individual gifts to bring to the world. We just so happen to make ways that people are able to express their individuality to the world, bring their unique light to the world, and help it shine brighter and brighter each and every day. We just so happen to make the technology to help facilitate that. Don't even have to ask you, do you want to buy one? There's lines going out the door every time there's a new iPhone or a new Apple product, correct? Do you see the differences in those two messages? They get intimate first. That's how they're able to command a higher price point for many of their products, right? Does this make sense? Mm-hmm. So why is this so effective? Why is this inner circle so effective? It's because what we talked about earlier, the way the human mind is designed. The human mind, if you could slice open the human brain and look directly down, that sounds really graphic, but follow me. If you slice open the human head and look directly down, the human mind exactly mirrors what we see in the golden circle. The outer part of it's divided into 3 layers. The outer part of our human mind is what we call the neocortex. Now this is our newest brain. This is what distinguishes us from, I forget what we were before we were Homo sapiens, Homo erectus or something like that. But this is what distinguishes us from them. Our conscious thought, our reasoning, our logic, right? That's in our neocortex. Our 2 middle sections, now there technically is a difference between the 2 middle sections of our brain, but we don't need to go into that for the simplicity of this example. The middle 2 sections of our brain are what we call the limbic brain. Our limbic brain, this is our reptilian brain. We have the brain that naturally evolved with us. Regardless of what you believe, or this is still the way if you believe in evolution or not, you don't have to believe in it to know how the brain works, right? So our reptilian brain, or our brain stem, this is the reptilian brain. It controls all your actions, it controls all your thoughts, it controls all your decisions. It controls everything that the neocortex or your subconscious or your conscious mind comes up with. Now here's the interesting thing about the limbic brain. The limbic brain controls your decision making. It controls your behaviors. But get this, it has absolutely zero capacity for language. The limbic brain does not understand language. But a lot of what we're trying to do is reach people with our language. We're trying to reach them with our wording. We're trying to reach them with these things on social media and marketing. Does it make sense so far? So what gets to the limbic brain? Feeling, emotion, that intimacy that I was talking about with Martin earlier. Now that I know Martin, now that I've communicated with Martin, right, I'm able to talk to his limbic brain. I'm able to be like Apple. I'm Team Samsung personally, but but Team Samsung, right? But see, Samsung, and it's almost like this, I say it jokingly, but it's almost like this cult, right? I had one seminar and we actually went head to head, Samsung versus Apple, and Apple, y'all are ferocious defenders of Apple. You would think you get a share of their billions the way you defend Apple, right? But they have loyalty is also found here in the limbic brain. That's how you build the communication. That's how you get more marketing for your efforts. You build the loyalty. You start with the emotion. Somebody mentioned storytelling in here as well. You saw where that plays in getting over the reticular activation system of the human mind, right? Does this make sense so far? Build that loyalty, focus on the why. The why gets through the RAS. The RAS is here between the neocortex and the limbic brain, and if we can get to their emotion, ethically get to their emotion, a lot of times some people do know these things and they aren't ethical, which is why we actually believe, hey, if we can give good people this information, and all of you, I assume, are going to use this information for good, and I don't assume I ask, please, use your new evil genius for good. Right? So, giving you this information, now that you're able to do good in the world, you have the same information that a lot of those people who are not trying to do good have. And that's how we're going to counterbalance it. That's how we're going to take marketing back to the people who are trying to do good in the world, to make the world a better place. All right? Focus on the why, focus on the emotion, focus on the storytelling in all of your marketing efforts. It's not about the video, it's not about what time do we post. Those things have a little bit of say-so in the Facebook algorithm. But the Facebook algorithm, all that decides is what do we post, what does Facebook post, when it posts, and who does it show it to. Right? That's what the Facebook algorithm is. And a lot of people say, hey, Facebook had a new change in their algorithm. They'll say this every 3 months. Facebook had a new change in their algorithm. And we're like, oh, yeah, okay. Facebook changes their algorithm every single day. If you want to be technical, Facebook changes their algorithm over 100 times every single day. It's a rapidly changing thing. Every single day. So it's like the concept, when people say Facebook changed their algorithm, that just means people actually see the effects of it. Or they see people, oh, I'm seeing people I haven't seen before, and now they say, hey, Facebook changed their algorithm. They don't know the underneath the iceberg that Facebook changes their algorithm every single day. Not only that, Facebook has over 100,000 parameters in its algorithm that it's computing every single millisecond to decide what it's showing you when. Right? So with all of this, how do we get around it? Let's focus on the non-science. Let's focus on the art. Why do you do what you do? What you do, you don't just let people in houses, you give people their life back. You have to think about how do we really rephrase what we're saying. I don't just take care of your legal problems, I give you peace of mind against people who are trying to take it away. Does that make sense? And I'm just coming off the top of these things, but do you see how there's different messages? We get to what we try to convince people of what we do instead of why we do it, right? We have to get deeper. We have to get intimate. Does this make sense? Awesome. We're not done yet, y'all. We got more. Is this exciting? Is this just me? Okay, I love this stuff. I hope you can tell. Any doubts that I love this stuff, right? This is just how we are. In all our webinars, same industry, same energy, same energy, same in-depth of why this works, why this stuff is so important. If you haven't already, go to bit.ly/4class. And some of the things that you want to keep in mind, and I want you to keep all these principles in mind as we go through these final things you want to do for 2020 in your marketing to make sure that you're standing out and make sure that you're getting more marketing for your money. All right, so keep everything that we talk about in mind, how the subconscious mind works, why it works, why we do what we do. And we're going to go through these things really fast because we're almost out of time. So a couple of things you want to think about, no matter what the generation is, but particularly if you're focusing on millennials versus Gen Z, make sure you're speaking to them on their terms. A lot of times we speak to people the way we perceive the problem. We have to go into their minds and figure out how does Martin experience his problem. How do, what's your name?
Marianne.
How does Marianne experience her problem? We have to get into Marianne's shoes, not from our perspective, because remember, we're biased. We know our product or service works. We love our product or service. We love what we do, right? We have to get into Marianne's head. We have to get into Martin's head. We have to get into, what's your name? Megan. We have to get into Megan's head, right? Around the problems that they are experiencing and how we can address those, right? We have to do what we call enter the conversation that's happening in their head around the problems and solutions that we provide for the pain points that they're having. All right, is this making sense? So get into their head, get intimate with them. What is the conversation Mary is having when she, what service do you provide again? When she needs lawn service, what is the things that's going through her head? Hey, I need my grass cut? No. My HOA is coming after me. Help! You know, we have to get deep in her head. Oh, I have guests coming over. I really want to look presentable. I want to look like I'm professional, like what's outside of my house is a reflection that's inside of my house. Does this make sense? So it's not just cutting grass. You don't just cut grass, right? You really got to get granular. Is this making sense? And I want you to spend time doing this with each one of your products and services. So if no matter who your population is, Gen Z, millennials, communicate with whomever on their terms. I say Gen Z and millennials because we're hot topics right now. We always seem to be. Communicate with whomever you're trying to communicate with on their terms. All right, make sense? Next trend for 2020, I want you to make sure you pay attention to is what we call sentiment analysis. Sentiment analysis. So these algorithms in Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, they're doing what we call sentiment analysis. So all those reactions that you get from your posts, they're analyzing those. They're analyzing even more than the sentiment, they're analyzing the engagement. So the videos that you're putting out, all those things are great. What is the engagement? What are the comments that you're getting? And how are people responding to it? They're spending a lot more time in the algorithm figuring out what really is providing the most engagement. Why are they so focused on the engagement? Because you got to remember what Facebook and what Instagram's purpose is. Their purpose is to keep you on Facebook. Their purpose is to keep you on Instagram. And might I add, from my own personal experience, they do that very well. I'll go on there and I'll mean to do something, and then 20 minutes later I forgot what I went on there to do because I've been distracted by so many lovely cat videos. Right? They are masters at what they're designed to do. If you help them do what they're designed to do, they help you more as well. So these sentiment analysis are a reflection of the engagement that they're trying to make sure they maintain with their consumers. Right? The sentiment analysis are just another way of doing that. So when people give you the thumbs up or when people put those emojis in your comment, they're starting to analyze those in addition to the engagement that you're bringing, in addition to the comments, right? So make sure you pay attention to this. Now, this does not mean do what a lot of people try to do, which is comment bait, or these posts that are designed just to get engagement, just to get interaction. Remember, Facebook is smart. They have a team of several hundred people doing their algorithm every single hour, every single day, every single second of every single day. You're not going to be without it. So if you try to put some clickbait or engagement bait out there, it's not going to work. An example of that will be, there was this post going around, like this comment if you love Jesus. And people will fall for it. Like, well, I know I love Jesus. I want to like this comment. You know, those are some of the, unfortunately, and people are abusing it. And that's why they have to do these things a lot more and a lot more stringent, because people abuse the system. And so there are always people figure out a way to get the mousetrap. But they got 100 people dedicated every single day of every single minute of every single day, making the mousetrap even better. Right? So just let's learn how to align with it. Let's help them so they help us. Wouldn't it be great to have Facebook as an ally for your products and services? All right, so this is another way to do it. Last few. I say polish and interactive emails. So a lot of you are doing email marketing. Email marketing is great. Is email marketing dead? No, email marketing is not dead. Email marketing is different. Email marketing is different. So the way we did email marketing 10 years ago does not work. The way we did email marketing 5 years ago does not work. The way we did email marketing last year does not work. Your email marketing needs to be polished. It needs to be interactive. So they need to be able to have their customer journey as part of their email marketing sequence as well. What does that mean? Make sure your email marketing is engaging. Make sure that it has ways that they can interact with the email in ways that they can direct what they need to do or what they want to do next in your email. I know this is a lot, and I know we could literally have a session on each one of these topics. So, I invite you to go to bit.ly/4class for free, because we talk about all this stuff for free. Why? Because me and my team, we love to talk about this stuff, because we love this stuff, all right? So for free, from the comfort of your home, bit.ly/4class. Another thing that's hot, direct messages. You might be seeing chat bots and things like this in Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, all these great things, direct messaging and chat bot. Facebook has bought WhatsApp, so they're combining the WhatsApp, Facebook messaging, and Instagram messaging all into one in the next couple of years. But, here's a big but. Big but. Do not treat direct messaging like email. It is not email. You cannot communicate with them the same way that you do email. You cannot interact with them the same way that you do email. If you do, Facebook will block you. And when Facebook blocks you, not even my team and I can get you unblocked. Do not do direct messaging and chatbot messaging the same way that you do email messaging. There's certain rules around it, and we literally could have a whole session on this one as well. Go to bit.ly/4class, we cover that as well, for free, same thing. Excuse me. And I know this is a lot. Many of you might be overwhelmed. Don't be overwhelmed. You got us. You got us. I get overwhelmed every time I look at my tax documents and our finances and all that other great stuff. And my accountant every time tells me, don't get overwhelmed, you got me. I'm like, yeah, thank you. Takes that off of their back. You got us. You got us for free webinars. Don't get overwhelmed, you got us, all right? So direct messaging, very important. And last one here, blogging. All blogging means is video. Video blogging, essentially. You can do that right now. Remember we talked about storytelling, we talked about myth busting earlier. You can do that right now through blogs in ways that are relevant to your end consumer. You have to spend the time to get to know what are the pain points of your end consumer. If you don't, your efforts are going to go severely underutilized, severely underrecognized, right? So you have to know who you're speaking to, do the blogging, do the videos about myths in your industry, about storytelling. Those are some ways that you can start to get started right now, later today. You can do that right now. No prep required. All you need, can I hold this real quick, sir? You don't need a fancy studio. How many of you know Gary Vaynerchuk? Gary Vaynerchuk is a real popular celebrity. Most of his videos are done with his iPhone and or Samsung phone. Right? You don't need, this is a great place to start. All right? You don't need a production. All right? So start that now. Start with the myth busting. Start busting myths in your field. Another way, some of you might say, hey, I don't have content. Ask your people. Those comments that you left when you went to bit.ly/4class, many of you, we get ideas for new sessions from those comments. We get questions in these seminars, and we're going to turn those into new sessions. All of these things are ways to get new comments and new feedback that you can use for more content in the future. So you don't even have to think about it. You just ask what their consumer is needing, and you address what they are needing around their pain points. Remember, we're getting into their perspective around what they need. Does it make sense? Real quick question.
Well, I just wanted to add to that. What are you saying actually works? My boyfriend and I do a reaction channel on YouTube. Every single video. Hey guys, what do you want us to react to next? We don't have to come up with any content. We just take a list down and go, all right, this is what we're doing next. Because they're the ones that are telling us what they want to see.
And why is that so effective? Because they're helping you co-create. People are a lot more apt to support what they help co-create as opposed to what you create and try to give them to you. You may not realize it. You all helped me co-create this session this morning. Do you all realize that? Because we got intimate. I asked you, hey, what's your industries? What are your challenges? And we addressed several of those throughout this, right? And every time I spoke, especially about your particular industry or your particular challenge, you perked up. It's just like, hey, he's talking about me. We have that intimacy, right? Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So you all helped co-create this seminar. So give yourselves a hand. All right, so I hope you guys learned something today. One last thing I want to point out to you. We've been talking an hour and a half. I've given you one call to action this entire time. A call to action just means an action that I want you to take. What is that call to action? Go to bit.ly/scoreclass. Why do we do that? So many of you have you do a social post and you say, hey, if you like this post, comment below, share with your friends, tag a buddy, and if you want to reach us, call us at this number, and email us at this number. You've just given them 7 call to actions in a single post. You just overwhelmed them. Now, all that energy conservation that they're trying to do, whatever they were going to do with your business, just get discarded with that 1,000 bits of information because you gave them too much. We have to make it simple for them. We have to decide, we have to design the customer journey. What's the one door we want them to enter through? And once we have them through that door, now we have them, we can talk to them. This is our doorway, specifically designed for SCORE. Many of you might have saw when you went to that bit.ly/scoreclass, it was like, welcome SCORE patrons. It's designed specifically for you. That was the door. Now, when you're in our database, now we can take you to every step along the journey that you want to go, as opposed to you trying to figure it out on your own. Does that take a lot of the stress off of you of trying to connect the dots? You do the same exact thing with your businesses. Figure out how to construct that customer journey. Don't worry, we're right here along with you, and yes, sir.
So when you go to that and you register and stuff like that, what happens?
When you go to that and you register, you actually get an email about the, not instantly, we're gonna send you an email in a couple of days about how to register for free for that business summit that we're having in 2 weeks. For free, how to register for that business summit in a couple of weeks.
So nothing right now.
Nothing right now, yeah. So if you went there and entered, nothing will happen right now. We didn't have time to set that up. But you'll get that information on how to register for free for that seminar. Make sense? Awesome. So did you guys learn something today? Awesome. I'm so glad to hear that. You all have been an amazing audience. So I really enjoyed today. So glad to hear that you enjoyed and got some things out of today. If you have not already, please go to bit.ly/scoreclass. And I tell you this over and over. Why? Not only do I give you one call to action, now it takes, how many of you have heard 7 times before someone actually takes an action, or 7 times before you do a sale and things of that sort? Now, thanks to social media, it's closer to 21. Right? Because of the dwindling attention span of the human mind. All right? So please go to bit.ly/scoreclass, register for free, so that we can get you more great stuff. This stuff goes super deep. We're able to help you every step along the way. And with that, we'll turn it back over to the SCORE people.
Anybody not put their card or name in this box? Because I don't know what's in this box, but it's very heavy, so it must be something really good. So if anybody has not put their card, anybody.
Anybody. We'll put mine in the garden there.
If anybody has put their card, or
It's a luxury leather executive set.
Ooh,
Donated by
nice.
one of our SCORE mentors.
Hold on, I want to
It's
enter.
pretty fancy.
Nice.
Hold on, where's the slip? I want to enter. Can I enter?
Yes, you can.
Hey!
Here, you just put
here's a
M.
slip. Anybody have a slip they want to enter?
Yeah, sure. It's mine anyway, so here you go.
Nice.
It's free because you came today. Thank you all for
All
coming.
right.
All right, so,
It
hold on.
feels really
I want to enter. And while we're entering, feel free to go to bit.ly/scoreclass.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, if you have an evaluation sheet,
Oh, yeah.
fill it out. If you liked Marcus, give him a good score. If you didn't like him, give him a good score anyway.
Here.
Remember, we've got a lot of good outstanding speakers coming up in the next several weeks. The flyers are back here. Put it on your schedule. We've got a radio show every week that airs on local radio. You can
We'll
listen
take
on
that
your
right here.
computers if you like.